UK. Hello and welcome to another episode of Custom Modded Survival. So, you got the exact premise of this entire video in the title, thumbnail, whatever. We're making a full set of wooden armor and a wooden bow, and we're gonna try and take on the Ender Dragon. And we're gonna see how that goes, because it should be quite interesting. I do think I'm going to go with a long bow as opposed to a short bow, which should be quite a bit better for just overall damage. And we will get the benefits of having all of our bonuses, but it's not actually as much as, you know, we might have wanted to hope for. So, it's a bit of a trade-off. Regardless, we've got our wooden armor set completed. Now we've got to make our long bow, so let's get all those pieces in. Of course, we're making a completely wooden tool. And then, we also need to make the arrows, but we'll do that in a second. We're going to apply a couple things to the armor first. So, what we need to do is go back to here, and what we're going to do is we're going to apply a golden apple to each piece of gear. And the reason for this is because we're trading an ability slot for 2 upgrade slots, and I'll tell you why we're doing that in a moment. So, we're doing that because now each of these pieces has 3 upgrade slots, the bow has 4, but that doesn't matter a whole ton. Essentially, now what we're going to do is we're going to put a diamond on here, which will increase the base stats, which will make it better than if it was just wooden. So, essentially the stats got a little bit of a jump. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put netherite on there. Actually, I probably should put the diamond on the bow first too. And then we'll put netherite, which will boost the stats even more. It doesn't boost them by a crazy amount, but it boosts them by a little bit, which is enough. So this guy goes from armor toughness of 0 to an armor toughness of 1. We get extra knockback resistance, as well as the durability, and there's a chance for other things to increase too, but it is quite helpful nonetheless with just those things. Then, because they don't have a lot of durability, we're going to apply an emerald, which just increases durability. It also increases the amount of damage that you do to illagers, but that's fine. Then we also have 2 defense slots for the armor, which we're going to apply, so 2 gold reinforcements to that piece of armor. Then we're going to apply 2 gold reinforcements to our leggings. So now we have a total of 32% magic resistance. We're also going to put on cobalt, which is melee protection for the chest plate and the boots. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the dragon usually just does magic damage when it comes to chucking stuff, or melee damage when it hits you. And now what we need to do is we actually need to make the arrows. So, arrows are actually relatively simple. We need to make them with wooden shafts. So, I'm going to need some more patterns real quick, though, is we ran out of patterns. Of course we ran out of patterns. Why wouldn't we? Where are my sticks? There we go. Perfect. So, we're going to just grab a ton of patterns. Doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure that we get a full stack of arrows. That sound is kind of lit, but yeah. And then we're going to also, we'll make some sticks. And then, now can I make some patterns, please? Please. I just need like a stack of patterns. Okay, that's good, that's fine. That's enough, right? Should be. So, now we'll make a stack, or half a stack of arrowheads, because, yeah, it's not perfect. And then, now we've got a stack of arrowheads. Now, we can make the fletchings, which, twirling trajectory, I'm making them all out of trees, and the leaves was the closest thing that I could pick, really. So that's what we're gonna do. And if I'm even more, great. There we go, perfect. We got patterns. There we go. Twirling trajectory, and now we can craft ourselves a stack of 3 stacks. Holy sounds, that was loud. 3 stacks of arrows total. So now, what we're gonna do, since we've prepared our arrows, our helmets, and now we've got our bow, there's one more modifier we can put on our bow, and that is going to be auto-aim. Auto-aim is great. It does take an ability slot, though, which means that we're going to have to work on leveling these tools up. So they level up as you use them, but only if they actually are doing something. So what we need to do, we need to take a bunch of damage with our wooden armor, and deal a bunch of damage with the wooden log. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll check back in once we've got at least one more ability slot and a couple more things that we can increase for the wooden armor to make it actually insane so we can take down the Ender Dragon. Okay, well, it's been a little bit and we've upgraded the armor a little bit. We do need to repair it though, so let's get all this stuff repaired, and then we'll be able to upgrade it fully, which should be nice. I need more planks apparently. How many planks do I have? Do I have enough? 64 should be enough, right? There we go, and then get you repaired as well. Nice good old-fashioned wooden helmets. And now, what we're going to do is we are going to apply ourselves our auto-aim on our bow, which will then have auto-aim, of course, beautiful looking. We're also going to add a couple levels of power to the bow. Power will just increase the damage, which is great. It just makes arrows deal more damage, which we are going to need, like, respectfully for this. It's going to be a bit much if we try and do it without having that. We are also going to add ourselves a good old-fashioned another golden apple in order to increase the amount of upgrade slots we have. So I want to increase the durability we have on these guys, and the only way to do that is to add iron reinforcements. So reinforcements essentially will just give us a % chance to not take damage, which starts at 25, and it gets a little bit less effective as you go on, but it's still relatively effective. So we're going to apply 3 levels to each piece of our armor, just so that hopefully while we're in the end, you know, things don't immediately start breaking. And now we can do is we can plop those arrows back, because those were what I was using to level up the bow before I realized that you actually have to hit things melee with the bow for it to do things, which was interesting to me. Now we're going to be able to, actually, you know what, the bow is quite close to getting to the level above accustomed. So there's like comfortable, accustomed, and then there's a couple other levels which are quite nice, and we want to get there. So let's go grind that out for 1 second, and then we can put some more upgrades on it. Okay, we've become adept at handling the tools, so let's go back home real quick. And it gave us 1 upgrade slot, which we'll just put into a little more power so that we can deal a little bit extra damage to hopefully be able to slay ourselves an Ender Dragon. Now let's get over to the end portal to be able to go from there. Well, now we're here, and what we're going to do is we are going to finish up leveling some stuff up over here. So we want to increase as much range damage as we can. And the reason for that is, of course, because range damage is what affects the arrows, but also just because, pretty dope, you know? We also have 4 points left. You know, let's just complete this little area, and then we're almost done with completing the full skill tree. We also have a couple points to put into mining. Of course, mining is a little bit less required or necessary than combat, but we also get less points for that, so it's not terrible. So we're gonna... Okay, we can't increase that level yet, which is fine. But now it's time to go defeat the Ender Dragon. Only wooden. Let's do it. Let's just go in. Let's get that Ender Dragon. Made it to the end. The Ender Dragon is here. The end is nigh. Is that that's a Waystone Tower. Okay, so I don't even need to put my waypoint in, how do I rename it? Main End Island. Main End Island. There we go, perfect. Okay, and then we can also just, I'll just use all this, because we can. And now it's time to actually take on the Ender Dragon. So, as you guys are gonna see, the arrows go a little weird. And, the reason for that is because of the leaves that we have on here. But thankfully, the arrows go quite straight. And what I mean by quite straight is, surprisingly, as they are curving, the arrows are actually not really going too far away from where I said. I do think that it's going to be hard. We got the auto-aim on there. But what we should be able to do is, if I get one in here, I just need to thread the needle. There we go. So now all of them are destroyed. Now all we need to do is just shoot our arrows roughly towards the Ender Dragon. And also... Holy moly. The bow hits quite hard melee, which is interesting to me. But it doesn't hit very hard when it comes to actually shooting arrows, which is very... Okay, I am sorry for everyone who had to hear that. That was insanely loud. Maybe it was just loud for me? I mean, I saw the recording peaking, so I don't think it was just for me. But, oh my gosh. We got dragon scales, we also got the dragon scale from Forbidden and Arcanus, as well as the one from Bountiful Baubles, which is perfect. We also got a dragon egg, which is great, and now what we're gonna be able to do is, thankfully, of course, you know when your bow melee hits for about as much as a sword? It's not bad at all. You can just, so these guys have 53 health, and we are one-shotting them with a bow melee. A little bit crazy, but, you know, it is what it is. Also, there's some ores out here. This is obsidianite, which has uru in the middle of it, and we actually need that. Along with a couple other things, but mostly just that for, you know, taking care of getting a proper, helpful amount of the uru fluid that we need in order to make ourselves nihilite, which is one of the highest tier Tinker's material, but one of the best. It's not the highest tier, but it is one of the best Tinker's materials, and we're gonna make it probably next episode. So there's some stuff from the Abyss, ender crystals, interesting. And I also want to make sure we get to the outer end. So let's do that real quick. And thankfully it shouldn't be too tough. So now we're here, and we can do /set warp outer end. And there we go. We now have a warp to the outer end. There's also an end pyramid right here, which is quite interesting to me. And, that's great. I, you know, probably should have thought that was trapped. We got some orbs of temporary flight, and it looks like they broke all of the stuff that was down there, which is great, because that was, yep, that was super helpful. Okay, let's see if we can find any other structures in the end that might be interesting. Got this, which is like a little reactor core thingamajig. I don't actually know. Oh, it's day 83, which is dope. Got a shulker shell. It's a propulk. Obsidian Striker from Stalwart Dungeons. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I don't hate it. Shelter Altar. Wait, how do I actually, you know, I'm not even gonna try and figure that out right now. We're just gonna do what we can that then gives you levitation. Okay. Interesting. Also, Charundum. I mean, Corundum is, like, quartz and stuff. Or actually, Corundum is ruby, but it's the same thing. Ruby, emerald, sapphire, same thing. It's just color stuff going into it. But we are gonna need a couple more ores, and hopefully we can find ourselves a good old-fashioned end city somewhere. We found it. We found Abyssum. So Abyssum is one of the rarer end ores, and it usually spawns like right above wherever, on the underside of islands. It's quite hard to find. That was our first Abyssum, and I'm gonna need a couple to be able to make the Ultimate Tinker's stuff. So we do gotta find a little bit more, which hopefully we can. It's not gonna take like 8 years, but it might. You know, it probably will because of my luck. I'm just super lucky when it comes to that. You know, but we're gonna keep looking, try and find it. Maybe we find an end city, maybe we don't. Who knows? I did in fact find some more Abyssum, which is great. Now I just need even more, which is, yep, hooray. Okay, we found the third one. I only really need 3 for the current project, so that's what I'm gonna stay with. But finding an end city might be beneficial for dragon heads, so I do think we're gonna look out for one. Another structure here that's made out of end portal frames. Find the end pill. The end pill dungeon. What? Oh, cool. It's just illusioners. Dope. I love illusion. They're great. Okay. There's, like, actually nothing here. Okay. Dope. Well, this dungeon, it was a dungeon. I wouldn't say it was a useful dungeon, but there's another thing over here that we gotta check out, so maybe this has something better? Who knows? It does look like a bit of an interesting structure. The End Palace. Okay. Go up. Is there anything in here? Nope. Garbage loot. Another illusioner spawner. Bad loot again. Is there anything up here? Other than more spawners, more bad loot. There's some core succulents and absolutely nothing. Okay. At least we can also get some end slime, which we do need. So I'm going to need some of these end slime vines. Thankfully, I have iron in my inventory right now. And the reason why I'm gathering these vines is... Wait, there we go. Is because I need them for the bowstring, which will, in fact, be the best bowstring that there can be for Tinker's bows. Of course, most of the end stuff is actually just gathering materials, but it should be quite interesting. I'm very much looking forward to making stuff during the next episode, so make sure to stay tuned. That one's probably going to be the one where we hit day 100, because I'm making these episodes longer and more thought out and more entertaining for you guys. So if you enjoy and want to support me, you can do that directly through becoming a YouTube member. You can also just subscribe and watch the video. And I really appreciate everyone who does both. So thank you guys. Thanks to everyone who's joining as someone who really enjoys the channel. So, no, I really appreciate it. Anyway, let's find ourselves in End City. I found us in End City, which is great, because that didn't actually take too long. We had already kind of discovered it in a way, but we just hadn't been here yet. I saw it on the map, and it was like, oh, well, I could have just walked there. But, you know, it is what it is. We got our shulker hearts, we're also getting some extra shulker shells, and a bunch of these orbs of temporary flight. I do think that they can't actually be turned into anything, but, you know, they're cool, I guess. Yeah, probably don't need to be grabbing these, because I can already permanently fly. Just chuck them into an ender chest. Because I don't think I'm going to be using ender chests. But, no loot in those structures. Loot up here, right? Yeah, nothing. What about in here? There's usually stuff in here. Right. Nope, never mind, I lied. Of course, there's nothing up there, which is fine. It's all okay. It's all okay. What in here? No, but there are some of the random slime doohickeys. Mimicries. They're quite interesting to me. They don't seem to do a whole ton. So I got another loot bag, which, you know, let's make sure that that stays in our backpack so that we don't have to keep adding it back for that. We also got Forest Pearls, Lucky Horseshoe, Diamond Sword. Of course, Diamond Sword's not super useful, but the other things can actually be quite interesting, like the Cloud in a Bottle. We get double jump. There's also the music discs and other stuff that we want to add. Very happy that we're getting a bunch of that stuff, because it's quite cool, to be honest. Like, I know it seems like just a whatever, but this stuff's quite cool. It's really neat. Let's also make sure that we grab the dragon head. I'm inside the dragon head. Great. You know, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, let's go over here. We can grab ourselves another elytra. We've already grabbed an elytra before because we got it from a lucky or a loot bag or something. But we also got an elytra booster, antidote vessel, we got some source berries, scroll of mercy, some more dragon scales, ender staff, interesting, drigme shards, space dissector, another lucky rock. We've gotten quite a lot of really good stuff that I'm very, very happy about. So maybe we just go farming a little bit at the different little areas and see if we can find any more big structures. But, yeah. Oh, lag. Could have been bad. Ooh, there's also palladium over here, which, I think is one of the other things that we need for higher tier stuff. So I'm gonna grab that. expecting to see that, although it just kind of stood out because it looks a little different, because well, the shaders don't want to mesh with it perfectly. That's okay, right? Okay, this has to be the smallest end city I've ever seen. It is just a tiny house, like a tiny room, and then one room. Like, this generated smaller than I've ever seen it generate before. I don't actually know how it did that, but it did, and I'm just flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted. I don't understand. Why did it do this to me? Now I have to go find another one. Well, we did find a little bit of a boat wreck, I guess, interestingly enough. Though, unfortunately, no elytra. Did get an understaff, did get some vampire blood, which is quite interesting, but we did not get elytras, so that is very unfortunate. Also a tower over here, so we can get a waypoint. Let's stay 84. See another city right over here. Absolutely yoink their loot. Let's see what the boat has. Come on now. Ah yes, let's get rid of you, and then we can yoink the elytra, as well as... Oh, there's a shadow glaive, as well as a bag of seeds, because yes, I needed seeds in the end. Yes, thank you, I very much appreciate it. Thank you, I will, yes, very useful. Good job, I'm proud of you. Oh my gosh, there's like nothing in there. And another tower that we should claim. Surprisingly had a lot of diamonds, interesting, okay. Very interesting mishmash of structures. There's a pillar there with a bunch of random materials. There's another tower here, and then there's an end city immediately next to it that doesn't actually have anything, which is just great, because now we're gonna go over to something over here called the End Evoker Castle. It is? Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, we found the End Castle Evoker. Yippee. Wait, there's dragon heads. Free dragon heads. Honestly, I'll take it. For the dragon heads, worth 100%. Because dragon heads we can use to increase certain things. Tinker's stuff. It's great. Although, unfortunately, it doesn't really seem to have been worth it because there's not actually much here. And, you know, this is a very interesting... Why are certain things the way that they are? Why have you done this? You could have made it any amount of actual good dungeon, but instead you did this, and now look at it. Of course, we got a magical eye now. We needed a magical eye to get to the end. That's one of the special eyes of Ender that you need to acquire. And if you want to see how we got all of them, make sure to tune into the last episode that I posted, because that will be about finding all of the magical eyes of Ender in order to get to the end, which took way too long, spoiler, and that had absolutely nothing. I think I'm gonna end this episode here, because we're not really finding a whole ton of stuff, so I will see you guys in the next one. GG's. Peace. Have a great day. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow.